It's Mr. Lanious here. I'm live in front of a student audience, and good morning or good afternoon or good, let's just say good times to you, or whatever time this may be while you're watching. Today, we're going to talk about the Treaty of Versailles. So, the Treaty of Versailles is a treaty. It's a document that countries signed at the end of World War I, which, by the way, they didn't call it World War I back then. They just called it the war, or the Great War, or the war to end all wars. It's so bad there will never be another war. They were wrong, as you know. But grab your pencil, get some, or a pen, and a piece of paper, and let's begin. I will be using this blue Expo marker. First, you need to draw the title, which is the Treaty of Versailles. Or, if you are from Texas, the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, so first, we're going to, and by the way, if this is your first time watching,
Nobody cares about that.
So, you have your thing to write with, paper. First, we're going to draw a rectangle.
I don't know how to draw a rectangle.
Well, draw a straight line this way. Line down this way, this way. Then, go like this. Because this is a multi-page document, go like this. Nearly 200 pages. Just keep going, 200 times. No, not really. Okay, so this is our document. On the top of our document, we're going to write small, the Treaty of Versailles.
Okay.
Treaty of Versailles. You may have noticed that there are a bunch of letters in this word that you don't pronounce. That is because it is French. And in the French language, there are lots of vowels that are not said, or I don't want to say that, but French is different than English. Let's just say that. So Versailles, it is a suburb of Paris, France, or Paris. Let's just say Paris. Let's go with Paris. So it's a suburb of Paris, and it is about 15, 20 miles outside of Paris, and that is where King Louis XIV, Louis XIV, famously transformed a hunting lodge to the most magnificent palace in Europe. So this is, the same Versailles that you learned about in the French Revolution. But this is 100 years later. So the Treaty of Versailles was signed in Versailles in 1919. So we're going to write 1919. This is the date of these people meeting. So who was there? There were a bunch of nations. They joined together in a league, and they called themselves the League of Nations. So we're going to write the League of Nations over here. And it was a collection of a lot of different countries. However, it was most famous for having the United States not be part of it. So the League of Nations, the U.S. was not a member. So we're going to write down the USA, not a member. So the Treaty of Versailles, I don't want to call it a bully fest. I don't know if that's even a word, but it was, let's just say it's a word. The Treaty of Versailles was a bully fest with the League of Nations versus Germany. So we're going to write down some of the articles, kind of paraphrase what the articles were. So first, we're going to write Germany's fault. And then put an X. Germany's going to sign their initial there. Next, Germany has to pay for war reparations. which means repairing Europe. So I'm going to write Germany, Deutschland must pay reparations. Reparations. And they must sign there in the dotted line. Next, Germany loses territory. Germany loses territory. Sign there, initial there, initial there. And next, Germany has to lessen the size of its military. So we're going to say Germany, and then I'm going to put a down arrow and say military X. Sign on the dotted line. So, the Treaty of Versailles forced Germany to agree to all of these things and more. There were many other parts of the Treaty of Versailles. But for today, the Treaty of Versailles was instrumental in bridging the gap between World War I and World War II. The Treaty of Versailles is kind of a cause of World War II. We'll talk about why that is later. But let's put an arrow here and say plus the Great Depression. So paying war reparations to the tune of $33 billion, which in those days was like saying 33 bazillion, billion, tillion, $1 million, plus the conditions of the Great Depression led to the rise of fascism, which led to World War II. So for our simplistic equation, the conditions of the Treaty of Versailles helped create World War II. So we're going to write WW2 equals WW2. So, the Treaty of Versailles. Thanks. Have a great day.